Hi, it's Dennis Daly. The golden age of radio was one of the shortest golden ages of all time, yet during its run, radio brought about immense change in America. Radio brought us through the Depression and the Second World War, and then struggled on until television finally won the battle for supremacy in American media. Radio had begun just after the turn of the last century as dots and dashes, listened to by do-it-yourself radio enthusiasts. Then early voice transmissions brought radio into its first stage. By the 30s, the techniques were perfected, the networks were in place, and radio was on its way. The war changed everything, as did the coming of television. On the night of September 30th, 1962, when yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and Suspense signed off on the CBS radio network, the golden age ended. But radio's final 25 years were golden indeed. So join me now as we explore radio's last 25 years. 1949 was the year that England recognized the independence of the Republic of Ireland. The U.S. recognized the new nation of Israel. Television began to show up in more and more cities. In the World Series, the Yankees won again, beating crosstown rivals, the Dodgers, in 5 games. In 1949, radio turned over a new leaf with the introduction of the first true reality police detective show, Dragnet. Jack Webb would teach America what police work was really like, boring stakeouts and all. The show had a long run on both radio and TV. Here's a good example of just how good Dragnet was.
Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. An organized gang of thieves is working in your city. Their method of operation is clever and fast. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Stop them.
It was Tuesday, May 7th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out from the office, and it was 9:46 a.m. when we got to the corner of Beverly Boulevard and Fountain Streets. The Brighton Arms Apartments.
12A, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's it?
Want to try it again?
Yeah.
Just a minute. Yeah?
Miss Anderson?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, yeah, come on in.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, ma'am.
Sit down, I'll put some coffee on.
All right.
That's the only way to do it, Joe.
What?
Coffee grinder, hear?
Well, that's what it is, huh?
Yeah. You buy the coffee beans and you grind them up as you need the coffee, real fresh. I'm going to get Fay one of them. Great gadgets.
Yeah, guess so.
You never tasted coffee that fresh, Joe. Whole different flavor.
Well, if you say so.
Yeah. Wait till I get Fay one. You'll be asked over for the first pot of coffee.
That's nice.
You got a match?
Yes, ma'am. Here.
It's about the burglary, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. A couple of questions we'd like to ask.
Go ahead.
We've got the report you gave the officers last night. Now, this list of stolen property, I wonder if you'd look at it and see if it's right. Here you are.
Diamond watch. Yeah. The mink. Yeah, that's it. It's the mink that's important. Took me 3 years working to get that. Sure hope you bring it back.
Yes, ma'am, we'll try. Have you got any ideas as to what time the theft might have occurred?
Well, near as I can figure, it must have been around midnight.
Why do you say that?
Well, I got home from work about 11:30. I'm a hostess in the restaurant downtown.
Go on, please.
Got home, the coat was still here. I hardly ever come into the house without checking on it. You know, it's the only real thing of value I got.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there it was, hanging in the closet. I went out to have a cup of coffee and pick up the papers before I went to bed. Whoever took it must have been waiting outside. He saw me leave and then came in.
Why do you say he? Well, you said he must have been waiting.
Oh, I didn't mean anything special, you know, just a word.
I see. Did you see anybody in the vicinity when you left the house?
No, not that I can tell about now. The corner's a pretty busy place, Sergeant. Lots of people around there. A couple of restaurants. Always a lot of people around.
I wonder if we could see how they got in, please.
Yeah, right back here. Here, you see, they cut the screen on the porch door and then just reached in and opened it.
Mm-hmm. Top half of the door. You had it like this, did you?
Yeah, you see, you just put these two little things and the glass part of the door comes out. Always take it out on warm nights.
Anything else in the apartment disturbed?
Not that I could tell. Seems that they just went into the bedroom and took her coat. That and the watch and the other stuff. But it's the coat that's important.
Yes, I understand.
A mink coat means something special to a girl. I told you it took me 3 years of saving before I could buy it. It's a long time to do without things, Sergeant. An awful long time.
Yes, ma'am.
I only had the coat 3 days, and this happened. Just 3 days. Hardly even had a chance to wear it.
Is the coat insured?
I think so.
Ma'am?
Well, I just got it. I think it's insured. I have to check with the salesman. I told him I wanted the coat covered. Boy, I just hope it's in effect. Beautiful coat. Just beautiful. Silver blue. Cost me almost $4,000. Come right down to it, that's about $1,000 a day.
We have the serial number here for the watch. Now, is there any way you could identify the coat for us?
Certainly. All I have to do is look at it. I can tell.
Well, yes, ma'am. But is there any mark, any type of label that would help us in identifying?
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. Well, there's a store label. You could tell by that.
Oh, that's probably one of the first things the thieves will take off.
Well, I suppose so. Well, there's my initials. They can't get those out.
Ma'am?
I got my initials on some of the pelts. Had it done when I got the coat. Had it marked right on the skins under the lining. My initials, J.A. You could be able to tell from that.
Could you draw the initials for us?
Yeah. Wait a minute. I'll get a piece of paper.
Now, here, Miss Anderson. You can use this.
Oh, thanks.
Here's a pencil.
Okay. Well, you see, it's sort of like this. J.A. Like that.
Mm-hmm. Would you draw the coat and show us where the initials are?
Sure. You see, here's the sleeves. Then the body part comes down like this.
Mm-hmm.
The hem's here. And the initials are right there.
Mm-hmm. All right, Miss Anderson. This is exactly how the initials are.
Oh, there goes the coffee. Can I give you a cup?
No, thanks, no.
No, thanks, ma'am.
Well, excuse me a minute, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
You really think you're going to get it back?
We're going to try.
Did the men who were here last night get any clues?
Beg your pardon?
The men who were here last night, did they find anything that'd help?
Not a great deal, no, ma'am.
Well, I sure hope they find my coat. I just hate to think about it.
What's that, ma'am?
All that time. 3 years working to save for a coat. Then just to have it 3 days. You know how the models in the magazines kind of drag a mink coat along the ground? You know, sort of over their shoulders?
Yes, ma'am, I guess so.
Well, I just had it 3 days, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't even learn how to do that.
Reports of similar burglaries had been coming into the office for the past 6 weeks. In each one, the method of operation was similar enough to let us know that we were dealing with the same thieves. All of the homes that were prowled were residences. The owners of the houses were always absent. Entrance to the places was made through a rear window. In those cases where the window was open, the screen was cut. Where the window was locked, the pane of glass was broken, and the entrance made that way. The classification of goods stolen was also the same in all of the burglaries. Pieces of jewelry, whatever money was found, and fur coats. The only room prowled was the one where the fur coats were kept. None of the valuables in the rest of the house would be touched. Bulletins had been gotten out to all of the pawn shops in the area on the stolen pieces, but there'd been no replies. The M.O. had been checked by the staff's office, and the possibles that they came up with were checked out. We failed to come up with a suspect. The investigation of the crime lab on the scene had produced no tangible evidence. Frank and I had gone over the burglary reports time and time again, trying to find something that would tie the thefts together. None of the victims were acquainted with each other. They all lived in different parts of the city. The coats were bought from different retailers, and yet within a week of the time the coat was purchased, it would be stolen. Friends of the victims were checked. In most instances, we found that they didn't even know the victim had been in possession of the article stolen. On the night of May 6th, another burglary was reported. Among the stolen articles were a mink stole and a full-length natural mink coat. The coat had been purchased only 3 days before the theft. The victim had worn it in public only twice. After going over the physical evidence at the scene and talking with the woman, we were no further than we had been. Saturday, May 11th, Frank and I checked into the office.
Another one that doesn't go anyplace.
You want to get the reports out?
Yeah. You know, Joe, there's got to be something to tie them all together, something in common.
Well, if we come up with that, maybe we got the answer.
You see the bunch down by Chief Brown's office when we came in?
Yeah?
I recognize one of them.
Yeah, who?
Insurance man. They'll most likely be down here when we get through talking to Chief Brown.
What's the figure the thefts have cost him?
A little under $47,000.
Well, you stand that kind of loss, you'd do some yelling, too, wouldn't you?
Suppose. Funny now that stuff's turned up.
Well, it isn't doing them any good unless they sell it. I get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. What's your name? What? Oh, where are you now? Mm-hmm. All right. No, we'll be right over. Right. Well, maybe we got one.
Yeah?
Woman says she wants to talk to us about a stolen fur coat. The woman gave the name of Wilda Chandler. She said that she had some information for us and asked us to meet her in a bar at the corner of St. Andrew's Place and Las Palmas Avenue. It took us 23 minutes to get there.
See her?
No, we better ask the bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is there a Miss Chandler here?
Chandler?
That's right. She just called. Said to meet her here.
Might be her in the back booth. Didn't give no name. Back booth.
Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If it's her, your friend, will you do me a favor?
What's that?
Try to get her out of here.
What do you mean?
Get her out of here. All she's been doing is sitting back there playing that song. Playing the song, ordering doubles. We ain't got a girl in here this time of the morning. I gotta carry the orders back to her. Got a lot of other stuff to do.
All right, we'll see about it.
Well, if you can't get her out, at least talk her into sitting up here at the bar so I don't have to walk, huh?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Miss Chandler?
Sit right down, boys. Been expecting you.
All right. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
You just betcha. Glad to meet both of you. Talked to you on the phone, didn't I?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll never forget a name. How about a drink for you two boys?
No, ma'am. Thank you.
You should have a couple. Seems to make everything a lot better. I may have several more.
You said something about some information on some stolen fur coats, is that right?
Yeah, and I got it. Oh, Max, he's going to be sorry.
Old Max?
Hear that on the jukebox? Melancholy Mood. Hear it?
Yes, ma'am.
Our song.
Is that right?
You just betcha. Old Max, our song. Partner that goes, gone is every joy and inspiration. Tears are all I have to show. No consolation. Old Max left me. Tears in his fur coat.
Uh-huh. Who's Max?
You fellas sure you don't want a drink?
No, ma'am.
Oh, Max, just the tears in the coat. See? This is it. What do you think of it?
Very pretty.
That's a lie. It's a lousy coat and you know it.
You want to tell us about the stolen coats, please?
Yeah, I've been working for Max almost 2 months and I just found out. Guess you think that's pretty dumb, huh?
Well, maybe if you tell us about it.
2 months. Matter of fact, I just got the message last night, Friday, May 10th. 1:22 a.m. if you want to be exact. That's when I got the message about old Max.
Now, look, miss, you called us and said that you had some information on some coats. Now, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to tell us about
You
it.
just betcha. Would you put this in the jukebox for me? Play number B7. Huh?
Yes, ma'am. B7, huh?
Yeah, Melancholy Mood. Old Max and my song. You know what? He's a no good. A real no good.
This Max, has he got something to do with the burglaries?
You just betcha. Old slick Max, he's a pistol.
Yeah.
Say, how about a drink?
No, thank you.
I mean for you, for me.
Suppose you tell us about Max and the furs, would you, please?
If that's the way you want it. Max is a thief.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, you know him?
I don't know.
A thief. Worked for him 2 months, even thinking about marrying him. All the time he's a thief.
What's Max's last name?
Barrett. Thanks for playing the song. It's real nice.
That's B7.
What about this Max?
Told me how I was going to wear mink, and this is what I end up with.
Now, look, Miss Chandler, if you have some information for us, we want to hear it. But we haven't got time to sit here and keep you company.
You think it's all a gag, huh? You just think I'm lonely, so I called you. That's what you think, isn't it?
Why don't you tell us?
Well, it isn't a gag. I can tell you all about the coats, all about them.
Yes, ma'am. That's why we're here. Would you go ahead?
Well, I'm a hat checker on a restaurant out in the country. It's a good racket. Got the job about 3 months ago. Doing real well at it. Then I meet this Max 2 months ago. Old Max walks in.
Yes, ma'am.
Gives me the big pitch. How he thinks I'm so pretty, all that kind of stuff, you know?
Go ahead.
Well, he really piles it on. How he's got a big deal cooking, and as soon as it comes through, him and me is going to get married. Tells me that while he's waiting for the deal to gel, he's selling insurance. Old Max selling insurance. Pretty funny, huh? Well, he tells me that the hardest thing about selling insurance is the contacts. You know, getting to meet the people who need it. Contacts.
Yeah?
And that's where I come in. You see, old Max, he doesn't sell insurance on people, not like on their lives. He doesn't sell that kind.
Mm-hmm.
He sells what they call personal property insurance on things like rings and coats, stuff like that. You with me?
Yes, ma'am. So far. Go ahead.
Well, he tells me that if I'll help him with his contacts, he'll cut me on his percentage. Says all I have to do is tell him when some woman comes in with a new coat. Her name and address, and go see her and make the sale. It's me simple. All I got to do is get the names and addresses.
Did you do it?
Sure. How dumb can you get? I gave him the names and addresses. I knew there was something wrong.
Can you tell us what names you gave him?
I got every one of them. Got them at home. You can have them.
Why'd you find out he wasn't an insurance salesman?
Last night, 1:22 a.m. I wasn't feeling so good, so I took off from work. Went by his place. Old Max was just coming in. Got the car parked out by his garage. The backseat is loaded with fur coats, all kind of other stuff. Watches, jewelry. That's when I knew he was a no good. Oh, Max, a pistol. A real no good.
Yes, ma'am. What happened?
Well, I asked him about the stuff, where he got it.
Yeah?
So he told me all about it. How he'd been stealing. How all the names I'd been giving him were his sucker list. How as soon as I'd give him the information, he'd lift the stuff. All that time. 2 months, and I figured he was an insurance salesman.
You know what he's doing with the coats?
What?
Well, is he selling them?
Sure. He's got a regular order business. You call up and order a blue mink coat. If you want a platinum stole, just call Max. You'll have it.
Is he disposing of it here in L.A.?
Not old Max. He's too smart for that. Ships the stuff east.
Is that right?
Didn't I just tell you it was? You just betcha. Max gets an order and he goes out and he fills it. Then he gets a hold of some young kid and offers him a trip to the east. Maybe Chicago, Detroit, New York. Wherever the delivery's supposed to be made. Gives the kid a plane ticket and sends him on the way.
The carrier know what he's doing?
Oh, no. Max just gives him a suitcase and tells him where to deliver it.
How'd you find out about the operation setup?
Old Max, he told me. Said that since I found out, he'd have to cut me in. Give me all the scoop.
Barrett ever been arrested?
I don't know, maybe.
You any close friends in town, do you know?
I guess. Never saw none of them myself.
You want to show us where he lives?
Sure. I want to see him get his. After the way he lied. Ain't nothing too bad for him. Oh, Max, the pistol.
He sell all the stolen goods?
What do you mean?
Well, do you know where the stolen coats are and the rest of the things?
Must be in his apartment. Can't think of any other place it'd be. Gotta be there.
Do you know if he's there now?
He should be. He don't ever get up before noon. Should be there. I just want to see you get him. Lousiest trick in the world what he did to me.
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, that time him stealing those coats. Oh, that beautiful mink. Look at this.
Yes, ma'am. That's a very pretty coat.
I thought so, too. Take a close look. Old Max gave it to me to show he was on the level. Take a good look.
Yeah?
All that mink, and he gives me rabbit.
Before we left the bar, we put in a call to R&I asking if Max Barrett had a police record. The office told us that there was none in our files. We asked that a teletype be sent to George Brereton at the CII office up in Sacramento. We also had the name Wilda Chandler checked. She had no record in Los Angeles. 11:20 a.m. We got Barrett's address from the Chandler woman, and then we called a radio car. The officers took her to the city hall where she could make a full statement. Frank and I drove over to Barrett's apartment. Wilda Chandler had told us that the suspect drove a late-model Pontiac sedan. We found the car parked in the garage in the rear of Barrett's address. A preliminary search of the garage and of the car failed to turn up any evidence of the thefts. 11:46 a.m. Frank and I went up to see Barrett.
I'll get it.
Probably still asleep.
Uh-huh.
Who is it?
Like to see you.
Just a minute. Yeah?
You Max Barrett?
Yeah, who are you guys? What do you want?
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Get out.
Hold her. All right, come on your feet, Barrett.
What's this all about, anyway? What are you guys doing breaking in here like this?
You want to check the closets, Frank?
Right.
You got no right to come in here and do this. What are you looking for? I got nothing to hide.
You didn't act that way when we came in, did you?
How'd I know you were real cops? You read all the time in the papers how guys say they're cops and then break in and rob people. That's what I thought you were. Phony cops.
We showed you our identification, didn't we?
Well, how'd I know it was real? I never been mixed up with the law before. How'd I know you were really cops?
How about it?
Place is clean.
Sure, it's clean. What'd you expect to
All
find?
right, come on, get dressed. We're taking you downtown.
For what?
We want to talk to you.
Any talking you got to do it here. I'm not going any place with you.
You just keep believing that, mister. Now get your clothes on. Come
What
on.
are you arresting me for?
Suspicion of burglary.
Are you serious?
Get dressed.
Okay, you take me in, book me. But you're going to be in real trouble, cop, because there's one big problem.
Yeah?
You can't prove it.
12:10 p.m. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on Barrett's apartment in the event any of his associates contacted him. We asked his landlady about his friends. She told us that as far as she knew, the suspect was an insurance salesman. She said that he told her that because of his type of business, it would be necessary for him to keep late hours and that he didn't want to be disturbed during the day. We searched his apartment and his garage, but we were unable to turn up any of the stolen merchandise. We took him down to the city hall and got off all station radiograms with special attention to the police departments in Chicago, Detroit, and New York. giving them descriptions of the suspect and of the stolen property. We asked that their pawn shop details check the outlets in their cities. 3:15 p.m. We had Barrett brought to the city hall, and we talked to him in the squad room.
Okay, you made the boo-boo. Now, how are you going to get out of it?
What do you mean?
Well, you had the chance to check my record. You know I'm clean. How are you going to get out of having me sue you?
You got a job?
Yeah.
Where do you work?
I'm an insurance salesman.
What's the name of your company?
What do you want that for?
We want to talk to him.
I don't want you calling them. They find out I'm down here. Before I get a chance to tell them about it, I'll lose my job.
You kind of got this thing a little mixed up, haven't you?
What do you mean?
You've been trying to sell us how innocent you are all morning. Yet every time we ask a question, you give us a smart answer. Now, if you haven't got anything to hide, why don't you come off it and tell us the truth for a change?
I'm doing that.
When?
What company you work for?
I'm not going to tell you.
This rate book we found in your car. This the one? Great Southwestern Life, that it?
Why don't you call them and find out?
We did. They say they never heard of you.
Then it isn't them, is it?
What are you doing with a rate book?
That illegal, too?
Where'd you get it?
Friend of mine. I like to check the prices of other companies, keep abreast of things.
What's the friend's name?
You know I'm not going to give you that. Hey, who put you on to me anyway?
You said it yourself. We're not going to tell you.
Then it was that Wildebroad.
Who?
Who's playing cozy now? Wilda Chandler. She's the one who told you to pick me up, isn't she?
She have a reason to do that?
She might think so.
Why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I tried to help her out, give her the chance to earn some extra money. Told her I'd give her $5 for every prospect she turned over to me who bought some insurance, and it worked good for a while. And she started boozing it up. Got to be a real lush. Couldn't trust her anymore. She was giving me a list of bad names, making them up. I had to get rid of her.
Yeah?
Gave her a coat and called it quits.
How about these names she gave you? You got a copy of them?
No. Turned out they weren't any good, so I threw them away.
Frank?
Yeah.
You got that list?
Yeah, here you go.
Listen to these. See if they sound like the people Wilda told you about. Pauline Bunnell, Myrtle Briggs, Mrs. Mildred Carlson, Miss Jane Anderson, Alice Beckworth. How about it? You recognize any of them?
She's the one, isn't she? Lousy lush. She's the one who told you, isn't she?
Recognize the names?
Yeah.
Every one of those people have had a burglary in their house in the last month. There's a lot more names. Why don't you cop out and tell us the truth?
I got nothing to say until I see a lawyer.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah, Olson, right away. What do you got?
Kid says his name's Jim Nelson. Picked him up out of Barrett's place.
Anything on him?
Suitcase. Here it is. Couple of fur coats inside of him.
What about Nelson?
Checked him. Got a record listing, 2 burglary arrests, 1 conviction.
Where's he now?
Got him over in an interrogation room.
Who's with him?
Rubles.
Any trouble?
No. Walked in, we took him. Says he wants to see Barrett. Thought maybe you'd want to talk to him first.
Yeah, I do. I'll be right back, Frank.
Okay.
Let's go.
Anything on the coats?
Haven't had a chance to check him yet. Brought the Nelson kid right in.
Anybody out at Barrett's now?
Yeah, we called the team before we left.
Okay, thanks. I'll call you.
Right.
Hi, Rubles. Thanks.
All right. Olson, I'll be down the hall if you need anything, Joe.
Right, thank you. Your name Nelson, is that right?
Yeah.
Where'd you get the suitcase?
Barrett gave it to me
When?
a couple of days ago. I was supposed to take it to Detroit.
What happened?
I didn't make it. Got to thinking about how he was willing to pay my expenses back there just to take the suitcase. Got to wondering what was so important. Opened the suitcase, and when I saw what was in it, I didn't want any part of it. Tried to give it back to him. Cops picked me up.
Mm-hmm. You know where he got the coats?
No, I don't want to. Anytime a guy's willing to pay expenses back, he's just to deliver a suitcase. There's something phony about it. I want no part of the action. You know I got a record. I only stood 1 conviction. I'm trying to keep clean. You got Barrett here now?
That's right.
You gonna hold him?
Yeah.
I'd like to see him for a minute.
Why?
I'd like to tell him what I thought about the deal he tried to pull. Telling me how he was my friend. All the time getting me to carry the stuff for him. Can you fix it up so I can see him?
Yeah, come on.
You gonna be able to nail him?
We will now.
Imagine a guy'd pull a stunt like that on his friends. A guy'd do that, do about anything.
Yeah. You willing to testify about how Barrett gave you the suitcase?
I sure am. I want to see him nailed good.
Barrett?
Yeah?
Turn around here. This friend of yours wants to see you.
What are you doing here?
Thought I'd be in Detroit by now, didn't you, Max?
Just keep your mouth shut. They got nothing on us.
Watch him while I get the suitcase, Frank.
Yeah.
How about it? You ever see this bag before, Barrett?
He should. He gave it to me.
Beautiful coat here. Let's take a look at the lining, shall we?
I don't know anything about those. A guy sold them to me. I don't know where they came from.
How about it?
It's right there, initials J.A. You want to tell us now, Barrett? Barrett?
Lousy kid, I should have known better than that. Trick you!
Come on, let him go. Let him go. Bust his nuts.
Sit down, both of you. Sit down, Barrett.
Punk kid. Going good until he stuck his nose into it. All going good. How lousy can a deal get?
Well, I wouldn't worry about it.
What?
You're going to find out.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Max Rudolph Barrett was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, 4 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. His associates in the burglary ring were tried and convicted of receiving stolen property, which is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 10 years. Because of the cooperation she gave authorities in apprehending the suspects, Wilda Noreen Chandler was released from custody.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
A really great episode of a show that began in 1949, Dragnet. Dragnet, of course, a network show on NBC, but many shows that were really good were in syndication. That meant they were mailed out on disc or tape to radio stations that didn't necessarily have to have a network affiliation. Here is Alan Ladd from 1949 and a great episode of his 2-year run in the syndicated show Box 13.
Box 13, with the star of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd, as Dan Holliday.
Star Times. If you're interested in preventing a murder, come to 327 North Greeley Street in Edgemont. It should take you only 3 hours by train to get here. But you must come at exactly 3:30, or it may be too late. The whole letter was typed. Even the signature at the bottom, Pat Kennedy. I didn't know if Pat Kennedy was a man or a woman, but as it turned out, it didn't matter. Even though I got there before 3:30.
And now, back to Box 13 and Dan Holliday's newest adventure, Double Trouble.
How long will you be gone this time, Mr. Holliday?
Well, it's a little hard to tell, Susie. I think it depends on Pat Kennedy, whoever he or she is.
I don't like letters that have only typed signatures at the bottom.
Why not?
Well, it always makes me think that someone else wrote it.
And that's exactly what makes me think this may be very interesting.
You mean you agree with me?
Absolutely.
But you're still going to Edgemont.
That's right, Susie. I'll never learn, will I?
Someday you'll get into trouble.
What makes you think I haven't already? Well, don't put the light in the window for me, Susie. I'll try to find my way around in the dark. So long. Well, whoever wrote that letter was right. The train left me on Edgemont Station platform exactly 3 hours after I left Susie. And a taxi left me in front of 327 Greeley Street at 3:20, 10 minutes before deadline. It was an apartment house. I walked into the lobby. A not too interested clerk looked up as I walked over to him.
Yeah?
Is there a Pat Kennedy living here?
Uh-huh. Miss Pat Kennedy. Why?
I'd like to see her.
Apartment 1B, straight down the hall.
Aren't you going to ring her up first?
Well, no phone in her place. But be sure you knock first.
Oh, sure. That's one of my good habits. 1B, you said, huh?
Yeah, 1B, I said.
Thank you.
Sure, Ernie.
I got to apartment 1B. I knocked. Then I tried the door. It was open, and I walked in. Miss Kennedy? Pat Kennedy? I walked into the apartment a little farther. The clock on the table ticked away. Its hands at 3:23. There was a window open in the room, and I walked to it. The window faced a court. I turned away from it, walked into the bedroom, and I stopped. Miss Kennedy. Miss Kennedy. Whew.
Don't move, Bud.
Huh?
Get away from her.
You better send for a doctor.
Just stay right where you are.
Doctor, it's a little late for that. She's dead.
Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, you did, huh?
And who are you?
I think I'll ask the questions. Stand right there.
Now, look, this girl's been killed. I'm going for the... His fist hit me right on the button, and when I got my interest back, he was still there, looking down at me. With him was another man. The newcomer blinked once or twice, and then...
The next time you try to make a break for it, fellow, make sure you don't try an end run past the next pug.
What makes you think he's X?
Come on, get up.
What's this all about?
Got any idea who we are?
No.
My name is Johnston. Lieutenant Johnston, homicide.
Who called the police?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know. Cassidy?
Yeah, Lieutenant?
Bring that clerk in here.
Yes, sir, right away.
So you're the police?
Uh-huh. And you're Dan Holliday, visiting Edgemont.
How do you know who I am?
Your wallet, identification.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, start talking. Who did this?
Are you kidding?
Hardly. Take a look at her, and then ask that again.
I'm sorry, but I don't know anything about it.
No? Cassidy walked in on you while you were bending over.
So what? That doesn't mean anything.
Well, maybe not, but
He's the clerk, Lieutenant.
Okay. Ever see this man before? You, I'm talking to you.
Me?
That's right.
Sure, I seen him. He came in maybe 10 minutes ago and asked for Miss Kennedy.
Is that right, Holliday?
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. Cassidy?
Yes, sir.
What time did you walk in on this?
Maybe 3:25.
That's right, too.
You, clerk, what's your name?
Marvin Redmond.
Anyone else come to see Miss Kennedy today?
No, sir, nobody. Just this man.
You sure?
Yes.
Could anybody get by you at the desk?
Oh, no, I see everybody who comes in.
Uh-huh. Well, Holliday?
What do you mean, well?
You were the only one here.
Now, wait a minute. I don't know any more about this than you do. I came in here and found her like that.
Why?
Why what?
Why did you come to see her?
She asked me to.
Old friends?
I didn't even know her.
You want to say that again?
What I meant was, I didn't know who she was. Wait a minute, there's a letter in my wallet.
Letter?
Yeah, it wasn't here.
What kind of a letter are you talking about?
It's a letter from Miss Kennedy asking me to help her. She was afraid of being killed.
She had a reason. So you got a letter from her?
That's right. Someone took the letter. Where did you find my wallet?
On the floor. Why?
The person who killed her also took that letter out of my wallet.
Look, you tried to get past Cassidy. He thought you were making a break for it and slugged you, and then he called headquarters. You weren't alone for even 10 seconds.
Meaning no one could have taken that letter?
Right.
Oh, no, that's wrong. I mean,
Huh? What were you going to say, Redmond?
Oh, there's no phone in here. Mr. Cassidy had to come to the desk to make a call.
Cassidy, did you?
Well, sure, but this guy was out cold. He couldn't get away, so I thought it...
So you thought it was all right to take a walk down the hall? You idiot. You should have called for the clerk and got him to make the call.
But, Lieutenant, I thought...
but...
Well, Lieutenant Johnson...
Shut up. You're going to headquarters.
On what charge?
Just one, but it's a good one. Suspicion of murder. So that's your story, huh, Holliday? You're a good Samaritan. You help people.
That's it. Call Lieutenant Kling. I gave you the number.
And I'll give you some news. This happens to be Edgemont, different city. I'm the lieutenant here.
Kling can identify me, verify my story.
I'll do all the police work necessary on this case.
Sure you will. Cassidy, one of your men, pulls a prize boner. He walks out of a room where there's a murdered girl. He leaves me there alone.
So what?
That's exactly what you're thinking. So what? Cover for him. Use me as a goat. You've got a sucker. Is that it? Play him for all he's worth.
Yeah, I'll play you for all you're worth. You were the only one to see that Kennedy girl today.
So that makes me a killer.
That makes you the best suspect I've ever seen.
What's my motive for killing?
I'll find one.
Oh, you will?
I will.
So you really believed I killed her?
I do.
Mm-hmm. You want to charge me with murder? Or just book me on suspicion?
You're a pretty smart boy, aren't you?
Just smart enough to know that you don't have enough evidence to charge me. And while we're on the subject of intelligence, how come your man Cassidy was Johnny on the spot?
You'd like to know, wouldn't you?
It might help.
And we were tipped. Someone called headquarters, said there'd be a murder at that address, and I sent Cassidy.
Uh-huh. So the letter I got from her is gone. Somebody tips the police, and you still refuse to believe it might have been a frame. With me doing the laughing cavalier inside it.
I'll tell you everything when I've got everything.
Meanwhile, you'll cover for Cassidy so your detective division doesn't get a laugh.
Shut up! Yes?
Lieutenant?
What'd you expect, Sherlock?
Lieutenant, is it all right to talk?
Can you?
Is Holiday gonna be charged?
What do you got, Cassidy? Why do you ask that?
Because there's an attorney here with a writ of habeas corpus.
What did you say?
Well, there's a lawyer here.
Shut up! Well, got friends in town, Holiday?
If so, they're very welcome.
And you said you were a stranger in Edgemont.
I still say it.
Uh-huh. Yet a perfect stranger comes along and springs you on a writ.
Is that so?
And he knows there'll have to be a bail posted. Brother, that's hospitality.
Well, Lieutenant, is there a formal charge, or do I walk out of that door? Well?
Get out.
Well, thank you.
But I'm not finished with you. Don't try to leave town or you'll be picked up for jumping bail.
Don't worry. I'm just as much interested in this as you are.
Holiday, mark my words, I believe you're guilty. And so help me, as sure as I'm a foot high, I'll get evidence to prove it.
Even if you have to frame me to clear that great brain. Meaning Cassidy.
Yeah, I'll get you. And when I do, it'll be for keeps.
Well, Lieutenant Johnson was burned. He knew his department was in for a roasting if Cassidy's mistake got out. Meanwhile, I looked very funny as a goat. And I didn't even know who had me released. The lawyer brought the writ and put my bail up, wouldn't say a word. He left me, and it was dark when I walked out on the street. I couldn't leave Edgemont, and I didn't want to, not yet. I got into a cab knowing I'd be followed by one of Johnson's men, and went to a hotel and registered. I was just sitting down to think when... Yes, who is it?
Is that Mr. Holiday?
Yes, who are you?
Please, I must see you. Please let me in.
Oh, no, thanks. Not until I know who and what you are.
Look, I will slide something under the door. You look at it, then you decide that you should let me in or not. All right?
Go ahead.
Did it come through?
Yeah.
You are satisfied, Mr. Holiday?
This is a receipt for my bail bond.
Yes. I'm the one who got you out. Please, I can come in now.
You're Philip Duval?
Yes. Now, please to let me in before it is too late.
Okay, come on in quickly.
Mr. Holiday, you know that you are followed here.
Sure, Johnson's watching every move I make.
Yes.
Why'd you bail me out? What do you know about Pat Kennedy?
I knew her 10 years ago, maybe. We were dancing partners.
Wait a minute. Were you followed up here?
Oh, no, I am sure that I was not.
How do you know?
Because the police do not know me.
Well, how do you know I was here?
I was watching Pat's room.
Yes, go on.
Then I waited outside the police station. I see you come out. I see the detective follow you. I make sure I am not followed. Then I come here.
Uh-huh. And then what?
I come to this hotel and take a room. I looked at the register. I see your name. Then I wait, and then come here.
Mr. Duval, you seem to know quite a bit about how to evade tacklers and slip away from enemies.
Because I want to know who killed her.
How was she to you?
We are in love once. Then she leaves me. I do not see her for a long time. I find out she is here. And I come.
And kill her.
No, please. Please, would I do all this for you if I kill her? Why?
Maybe I'll find an answer. What do you want with me now?
I want to give you this.
This is a letter addressed to Box 13.
Yes, you will please to read it.
Box 13. By accident, I saw your ad in the Star-Times. I must have your help because I cannot go to the police. Please come to me as soon as you can.
You see, she is afraid. The one time I see her, she tells me she is afraid.
Of what? Of whom?
I do not know.
How did you get hold of this letter?
She gave it to me to mail. I laugh at her. I think she is being foolish. But now...
So you didn't mail it?
No.
Yet, I did receive a letter with a typed signature. A letter that anyone could have written.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Duvall. Sit down and do a lot of talking.
Oh, no, not here. You will please come to my address later tonight.
Why?
Because although I am not sure, I think I know who killed her. And unless you want to be arrested for her murder, I think you better come to see me.
And now back to Double Trouble, another Box 13 adventure with Alan Ladd as Dan Holliday.
Well, I had to take Duvall at his word. What that word was, I didn't know. Maybe he did kill Pat Kennedy. Maybe he didn't. Anyway, I had to see him. I slipped out of the hotel knowing that one of Johnson's men was trailing me. I had to find some way to get rid of him. There was a war surplus store open down the street. I went in.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Yes, I think so. Got any coveralls?
Oh, sure. Stacks of them. What size?
44. Any place I can try them on?
Yes, the small room in the back. I'll get you a pair of the coveralls.
It's all right. I'll look for them myself. I'd like to pick them out.
All right. They're all on the racks there.
How much are they?
$3.95.
Okay, here you are.
Thank you. Even change. Just take your pick.
Yeah, thanks. I slipped behind one of the racks. The plainclothesman trailing me was waiting outside. I picked one of the coveralls from the rack and slipped into the back room. Pulled the coveralls over my clothes and climbed out of the room through a window. It wasn't a great disguise, but it was better than having the police look for a man wearing a light gray suit. 20 minutes later, I rang the bell at Duvall's place.
Yes?
Is Mr. Duvall here?
Philip?
Yes, Philip Duvall.
No, he's not here. Will you come in, please?
Oh, thank you.
I'm worried for him. He said he would be home an hour ago, but he's not come.
No phone call to you?
No. Who are you, please?
A friend of his. My name is Holliday.
Holliday? Then you are the man he went to see.
Tonight?
Oui.
You mean he called and said he was going to see me?
No, he went earlier.
Uh-huh. And he hasn't come back yet?
No. Oh, I'm so worried.
Do you know Pat Kennedy?
Yes, I know her. I read that she is dead, and I'm glad.
Glad? Why?
Philip loved her. She did not love him. She left him.
Yes, I know all that.
Philip did not know Miss Kennedy was here until he happened to see her.
Did he mention that she was afraid of something?
Yes, he told me. But I asked him, I begged him not to see her because she's not good. She's not good at all.
Do you know of what she was afraid?
No. Only that Philip told me that she could not go to the police, that the police would not be able to help.
I wonder why not.
I do not know. I know nothing except that I want my son to forget her, because if he does not, she will bring bad things, she will.
That's your phone. It's probably your son.
Yes, it is Philip.
Would you tell him I'm here, please, and to hurry?
Yes? Yes, this is Mrs. Duval. No, I'm his mother. Huh? No.
What?
No.
What's the matter?
No.
Give me the receiver quickly.
No.
Hello. Mrs. Duvall can't talk.
No.
What? Oh, goodbye. Mrs. Duvall, I'm terribly sorry.
They do not mean what they say. They do not mean it. My son cannot be dead.
I'm afraid it's true. That was the police.
What will I do? What will I do?
Wait here, Mrs. Duvall. I'm beginning to get an idea. What the idea was a little fantastic, but things began to add up. The first place to check my addition was back at Pat Kennedy's apartment. There were no police watching the place, so I slipped in. The same clerk was on duty. I walked up to his desk.
Anything I can do for... Hey, you.
Hello, Marvin.
What do you want? I thought you was in jail.
They let me out. Marvin, how long did Miss Kennedy live here?
You got no right...
Come on. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want some questions answered.
I don't know nothing about it.
I think you do. Who came to see Miss Kennedy when she was alive?
Listen, I don't want no trouble.
You've got it. Answer me. Did anyone come to see Miss Kennedy often?
Yeah, but I didn't know who he was. Not until...
Until today, huh?
That's right. I didn't know. But that don't make no difference.
But it makes a lot of difference now. Thanks, Marvin. You've helped me a lot.
You ain't gonna get me in no trouble.
No trouble at all for anyone, except me. Now, I want to go into Miss Kennedy's apartment.
You can't go in there.
I think I can. Come on, Marvin, let me in.
You said there wasn't gonna be no trouble.
Marvin, you get up off of that chair and let me in Miss Kennedy's apartment or I'll...
Okay. But you're making me do it. If the police ask, you're making me do it.
That's right. Come on.
Come on, then.
That's the boy. Straight ahead. Go ahead in, Marvin.
I gotta get back to the desk.
Sure, and call the police? I don't think so, Marvin. You're staying right here.
What are you looking for?
A typewriter. You see any?
She didn't have none.
How do you know?
I never heard of using one.
Mm-hmm. Look around. If you see one, yell.
I gotta get back to the desk.
Just a minute. In a minute.
There ain't no typewriter in here.
Uh-huh. I didn't think there would be.
Well, then what's the idea?
A good one. Okay, Marvin, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to have to put you out of action for a little while. Until I can get into action.
What are you going to do? You ain't going to hit me or nothing like that?
Oh, no, don't worry. You're just going to be tied up. It'll be uncomfortable. But I'll tell you something, Marvin.
What?
You won't be half as uncomfortable as I was, and still could be. So, Miss Kennedy didn't have a typewriter. And the letter Duvall had shown me proved that she wrote a letter to me by hand. So it was a frame to get me for her murder. And I had a pretty good idea who put it around me. But proving it was another matter. I took off the coveralls I was still wearing, hopped a cab, and went back to police headquarters. And when I walked in...
Hey, it's you.
Hello, Cassidy.
Where did you come from?
Never mind that now. Is Lieutenant Johnson in?
No, he ain't.
No, I don't wait. Do you mind?
What do you want to see him about?
The murder of Miss Pat Kennedy and the murder of Philip Duvall.
What are you talking about?
I'll tell the lieutenant all about it.
Huh? Maybe you better tell me, Holliday.
I'm saving it. Mind if I wait in Johnson's office?
How about waiting in my office?
No, thanks. I like to be alone and do some thinking.
What about?
Lots of things. But this is getting us nowhere. I'm going into Johnson's office.
I told you he ain't in.
I know you told me, and I told you I'd wait for him.
Okay, go ahead in and wait.
Well, thanks, Cassidy.
I'll tell him you're in there. And don't try to get out once you're in.
Don't worry, I'll stay put. This time. So far, so good. I took a quick look around Johnson's office. There was a typewriter, and I tried it. The type looked the same as the typing on the letter I'd received. The one supposed to have come from Pat Kennedy. Then, as I was looking around...
You looking for something, Holliday?
Oh, come in, Lieutenant.
You just love to stick your head in bad places, don't you?
Look, Johnson, you would like to know who killed Pat Kennedy, wouldn't you?
I know.
Maybe you do. And maybe you'd also like to know who killed Philip Duvall, because he knew of what Pat Kennedy was afraid.
He was afraid? Of what?
Not of what, Johnson. Of whom?
Well, what have you got, Holliday?
Look, the killer murdered her after he sent me that letter. He killed her just before I was due to show up there.
Go on.
But the letter was missing from my wallet.
If there was a letter?
There was, and it was written on this.
What are you talking about? You're crazy.
I don't think so. From all I found out, Miss Kennedy wasn't too nice. Maybe she was keeping company with someone who got tired of her. Someone who couldn't afford to let it be known that he knew her.
Who is this he you're talking about?
The same man who took the letter from my wallet. The same man who watched me go into that apartment building and then called the police and tipped you to the murder.
There was only one man alone with you.
That's right.
Cassidy?
Could be.
Now, wait a minute.
You wait. I'll sit here on your desk and talk.
Here, go ahead.
Now, he waits until I get to the apartment. This man who's afraid the girl will spill the beans about the two of them. Previously, had threatened her if she talked. But she was afraid to go to the police. Only because the police couldn't help her.
Meaning that the man who threatened her...
was on the force. Oh, it's funny, huh?
Yeah, you're doing a lot of talking, but you haven't said anything yet.
All right, I'll start now. That was only the build-up. Wait till I get through.
I'm waiting.
So, Cassidy kills her, frames me, tips the police.
Sure. Only he was here when I sent him out to follow up the tip. How could he kill her and get back in that short time?
Because the call came from here. Look, all you have to do to get an outside line on one of these phones is to push up this lever. You get a dial tone. You dial police, put in a fake call, and sit back and wait to be sent out on it.
Yeah. But there's only one more thing wrong, Holiday.
Name it.
You got there early.
I know I did. What?
I said you got there early.
Yeah, I got there early. Not at 3:30 as the letter asked, but at 3:20. Now, how could you know that unless you read the original letter?
Don't move, Holiday.
I won't, because I'm not finished. The man who killed Miss Kennedy and Duvall was you. You got Duvall's name and address from the copy of the bail receipt. You had access to it. You knew where to find him.
What are you going to do with all this wonderful information?
Give it to the police.
I'm the police. I'm in charge of this case.
Mm-hmm. And if I start to walk out of that door?
You'll be killed while escaping.
And if I sit right here on your desk, how will you explain a lot of things that will have to come out if I'm brought to trial?
And that's true, too, isn't it? I guess the only thing to do is kill you. And turn around. I have to make this look good. You were running away from me. I shot you. Turn around, Holiday. If you don't, I'll do it for you. Now get up.
Okay. I'm up.
Turn around. Start walking toward that window.
Okay, I'm walking.
That's it. Far enough. Now, Holiday.
Down, Holiday.
Cassidy.
Drop that gun, Lieutenant.
You stupid fool!
Thank you, Cassidy. Thanks very much.
Yeah. Say, you're a pretty smart guy. A pretty smart guy to do what you did.
But Mr. Holiday, it was a policeman that did the murders?
Don't let that throw you, Susie. You see, there's a bad apple in every barrel, no matter what the barrel is. Don't let it change your opinion of the thousands of policemen doing a wonderful job all over the country.
Of course. Mr. Holiday, how did it happen that Mr. Cassidy came in just at the right time?
Because I was sitting on Johnson's desk.
I don't get it.
Well, you see, there was an inter-office communication box on his desk. I kept most of the levers pressed down. I sat on them. Somebody had to hear that conversation between me and Johnson, and I figured someone would come in. If they hadn't have... Well, Edgemont is a nice city, but not one I'd like to be buried in.
You sat on the levers through the whole conversation.
Uh-huh.
Gee, that's sure using your head, Mr. Holiday.
It's your... Huh? Oh, good night, Susie.
Listen in again next week when, through the courtesy of Paramount Pictures, Alan Ladd stars as Dan Holiday in Box 13. Box 13 is directed by Richard Sandville, and this week's original story was written by Russell Hughes. Original music is composed and conducted by Rudy Schrager, and the part of Susie is played by Sylvia Picker. Vern Karstensen is in charge of production. Box 13 is a Mayfair production from Hollywood. Watch for Alan Ladd in his latest Paramount picture.
I'm Dennis Daly. Thanks for going along on our journey through the final 25 years of radio. Radio's golden years. Join me again next time.